Dark Souls and Bloodborne, you get a whole lot out of it. But if you don't engage, you still get a lot out of it.
Yeah, it's interesting you went to video games. I made a really wonderful discovery last year in terms of what games provide that books do not. And when I understood this, that makes sense.
What do you think games provide that books do not? Because I also have an idea here, but I'd like to hear what you say.
Interaction.
It's true.
Interaction is the language of games. That is ultimately the language that is the language that games tell their stories. It doesn't matter what the game is, it's all in the interaction. When I look at, say, a game, let's say, like you talk Dark Souls. I'm a Final Fantasy 13 fan. I know there's just like one other person besides me that really loves this game. That's fine. I'm good with that. But one of the things I really, really appreciate
the online one. No, that's 14. 14's the online.
No, I don't. Okay. I will not touch an online game. I will not ever do it. I did it twice. After that, I said no mas because I can't afford to do it. And that was this. I tried World of Warcraft, and I thought I'll try this game. 8 hours later, I said, "Dial down. This is a good game. I won't do that again." And the second time, it was like, I can't play this game. I just can't. I realized like I just couldn't do it. So I shut it down, and I recognized like, because it's everything. Like the thing about like those online games, it's not just the game itself; it's the community stuff you're doing too. It's got everything to basically kill your time forever. And I'm like, I am not mature enough. I'm not mature enough for Netflix. I'm not mature enough for online game. I'm just not. And I just know this. I just know this about myself. I am adult enough to realize where I'm not an adult.
Yeah, I've never been. I never got drawn to MMOs that much. But I feel that way with like Civilization. For some reason, Civilization is just a game that I'll install it and then I'll play it for like 12 hours and be like, oh, that was a mistake, and then I'll uninstall it and I'll install it again, later. Sorry, you say, but I didn't mean to throw you off your groove. You're saying about interaction.
So Final Fantasy 13's got a similar thing. You go deep. Like the cool thing of it is you can just play through the game, and you don't necessarily need anything to the story. There's a point in the game. So what everybody hated about that game was the fact that for the first good, I'd say about half the game, you don't really control where you're going. You're just being led somewhere. I enjoy it because from a story perspective, this is true. You are being led down this path on purpose. That's part of what's going on. You're trying to fight breaking free, but you're still being led down this path.
Yeah.
You finally get to the point in the game where you can explore everything. There's a point. You can still keep going and playing the game, right? There's not much left in terms of levels, but there's so much more game in this one spot. You can open things up. You can go into the mythology. You can get the lore. It suddenly becomes very enriching, much like Dark Souls. It can be a very enriching game. Or I can keep going. I can skip all this crap, and I can get my base story out of it for its conclusion. And that's the thing. That's the advantage games have. Games have the ability to go like, you can be as little or as much involved as you want.
Yeah.
Books don't. You can do. There are things you can do in books that can add to that. That can add to it, but it's much harder because there's a lot there. At some point, it's about realizing what your story needs and what it doesn't. And there's only so many ways you can incorporate that into your story. In the Cloud Diver, I use a social media feed to do my world building because honestly, I thought that would be a really neat way to do it. And also, it gets around, since I write in first person, it gets around the plot holes that the problem writing in first person is the first person cannot know the whole plot because otherwise he's a know-it-all.
Yeah, or you write a million scenes of someone overhearing someone else.
Yeah, which sucks. Whereas if I have a social feed, I can skip all that crap. I just use a social feed to do that, to fill the gaps I need to fill in, but also now I can create nuances about the world that my character will never necessarily have to talk about.
I mean, there's a reason why first person usually thrives in mystery genres, because the discovery is all the entire part of it, which sort of brings me into what I think I agree with you very much with what sets games apart. I think I use a different word for it though. It's very similar to what you said. I think really what sets apart game storytelling in video games is discovery, is the fact that video games can set things up for you to figure them out for yourself and to really figure them out for yourself. Like that's what I enjoy about the Dark Souls games, that you feel like you are discovering things about the world and you're making suppositions and you're figuring those things out. Another indie game that was really good at that was The Outer Wilds. Was an amazing game that's all about discovery. You're going through it and you are learning things in such a interesting way that I think is not possible in books. Like I mean, you can do the writing, the very there's a specific word for it, but like the utilitarian writing, almost the one where it's you don't really explain anything. You let the audience, you just let things happen. The audience, will figure it out or they won't figure it out. But they can be rather hostile at times. But in a game, saying, "Hey, yeah, you got to figure it out for yourself," is seen as a challenge to be overcome rather than a hostile. I'm not gonna bring this to you. You do it yourself. Yeah.
No, I like I said, that's the advantage games have. Like books, you have to be you do need, especially like I think in an epic fantasy, you do need a sense of lore, like a bigger story being told somewhere. You can have your story be a very basic story, but you always have to have that hint of something more.
Yeah, and some books do it really well.
Yeah.
Like I think I always thought that Brandon Sanderson did, despite being very verbose, his books are very long. He does a good job of packing a lot into things, so you feel the wider world even as you're just going through. Especially in the Mistborn series, I really like the Mistborn series. That's usually when I'm talking about Brandon Sanderson, that's usually what I'm talking about.
Mistborn's a great series. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I love The Way of Kings. I love the Stormlight Archive too. It's like that's to me though. Here's the thing, like guys, book size, I agree. I had to choose between taking Von Lee. This is a tough choice. Von Lee or Brandon Sanderson. You know why? I went with Von Lee for two reasons. Smaller books. I got the lock that, and that's saying a lot when Von is pretty verbose herself. And two, the thing about Sanderson is I definitely see Robert Jordan's influence in his stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I see it.
Just density wise.
Yes.
God. Yeah. Look, here's the thing. I love Brandon. I've met Brandon Sanderson. I won a signed squirrel's nest from Brandon Sanderson. I won by losing to him, but I got a squirrel's nest. Not the gathering card squirrel's nest. Not like he been.
No, when you lost him and told me, like, I'm not yelling a little secret. I've been trying to get him on the show for a while. If I get him, I want to play Magic with him, even if it's because I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But
anyway, so yeah, no, I love him. I love his work. I met him, got a squirrel's nest from him. It was a weird thing that he gave me, just bequeathed it upon me. The squirrel's right here somewhere, but man, his books feel very long, and I feel like maybe they could be shorter.
Actually, okay, so
he's openly said that his books are sometimes a sequence of books he just didn't cut apart. Like